Page 148, Lunar Eclipse. Well, this looks interesting. Let's take a look at this. It's got all kinds of stuff going on. Eighth note's going crazy, especially at the bottom of page 149. You think, what? We'll just take it slow and easy. We'll get there. Now, at the top of the page, they've given you a new musical symbol to know. Now, from now on, in addition to all the others you already know, and I know you remember them all, right? It's called a tenuto mark. This is another symbol where people don't agree on what it means. So let's just talk about it for a bit. I've already said, you already know, I hope, that musical notation has evolved over the centuries. It's changed. Well, back in the 1700s before, or whatever, if they wanted an accent, remember an accent is the sideways arrow, okay? If they wanted an accent, they would use this little line. It was a stress mark. The sideways arrow symbol didn't exist yet, as far as I know. They would use, this was the accent. And then later part of the 1700s, early part of the 1800s, it switched. And this stress symbol turned into a tenuto mark where you hold on to the note. You linger on the note. Make it last maybe just a hair longer if you can. You can't mess up the rhythm. But, you know, it's if there's a rest or something after it, you might hang on just a hair longer. Just linger on the note. Some people say that's what it means and that's what you do. That's what the book is saying. Other people say it's a stress mark. It's still a stress mark. And there are publishers who use that symbol to indicate where the melody is, because when the melody gets all over the place and you got other stuff going on, sometimes it's hard to tell where the melody is. I've seen this in a lot of the Rachmaninoff pieces. They indicate the melody with these little lines. It doesn't mean you linger on the note, although you can. It's more of a stress mark. You bring it out. You bring out the melody. Yeah, it's not a full accent. It's just, you might play it just a hair louder. You linger on it. So almost more like a natural accent. Except you're not doing it naturally, you're actually forcing it. And you'll see, it's part of articulation, so I'll talk about it more when we get to the articulation. Let's go through the process for learning this. I look it over, it's 2 pages long. It's actually longer than that, but there's 2 pages of music to learn. Because I noticed there's a DCL code and all that, and that means we're kind of jumping around to places. We'll get to that later. Clef signs are treble and bass clef. 1 sharp in the key signature. We're studying the key of E minor, so I can already tell you this is in the key of E minor. That's all right. Do the scale and the arpeggio for the key of E minor. I have the videos, you know what to do. Blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all before. Okay. 3/4 time signature. It's just cover and make sure we know what each hand is doing. The right hand. Now, in order to get a full 3 beats in all these measures, you have to take both staves together, because neither staff contains 3 beats. But when you take it all together, you got it. Because that lower staff at the beginning only has a half a beat in every measure. That doesn't work. But they want you to treat it as though it's just one big staff, and you count it that way. So the right hand comes in on the and of 1, because the first beat is in the left hand. And it's just a broken E minor chord. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and that's all it is, because the left hand's doing the other stuff. And that's all you're doing in the right hand pretty much until measure 13 or 14 actually. And you're here, and you can just a D sharp B, and you can come out here if you want. If you don't want to be up in here, then come down your 2nd finger. Kind of depends on how big your hands are or how fat your fingers are or whatever. I don't care. I usually stay out here. I'll do that. You can do whichever. And then next measure is the last 3 beats. And 3 and 3 and, because the other beat's in the left hand. Now, top of page 149. We have 2 voices going on in the right hand. We have the top voice, which is the dotted half note. You're going to hold that down for 2 measures. While you're holding it down, you're going to play the other note of the other voice. Like so. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's how that works. And then measure 21/8 notes, 1 and 2. And then again, hold the dotted half note down, 1. Here you can come up here because they're both black keys, it's okay. here. Okay, now for the coda, the notes with the stems going down are for the left hand. The notes with the stems going up are for the right hand. And different publishers use different notations on this. It's handy when they do this, but you can't always rely on it. You got to double check. Here it's okay. We're going to use the stems going up for the right hand. We have the chord down here. It's just an E minor chord. And then the next measure, you're up here, right hand. And then the measure 27, 1 and 2. It's just an E minor chord, broken chord again. So we'll see what the left hand's doing. Well, you're starting out here at the beginning. It's 1 and 2 and 3, and then you got plenty of time to move up. And 2 and 3, and then they say third finger. 2. It doesn't matter what finger you use, because you've got plenty of time to move around. I like to feel my way around, so I would probably do a 1 or a 5, 2, 1, so I can get all those first 3 measures in one hand position. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and then I'll cross over to get the high B, high B actually. Now we have a problem. Imagine that. How do we get from measure 4 to 5? Measure 4 is here. Measure 5 is here. That is 3 octaves away. There's no rest. There's no nothing. How do we get down there? Well, glad you asked. You're going to lift up anyway. When you get to the articulation, it's the end of a phrase. You'd lift up. Here, you're going to lift up and move. Except now, you're going to lift up and move a long way. You go here to here. If it would help, use thumb on that. I generally don't use thumb on these because thumb is a short finger and you have to reach farther to get there. But in this case, it lets my hand get a little closer. However, you can use any finger you want. Just lift up and move. You may have to practice that move because you need to be accurate with it. You only get one shot. Then in the second line, we're back down here again. Notes are a little different on this one. And then you're up here. And then again, going from measure 8 to 9, same thing. You're here, now here. You're one note closer, doesn't help much. Then starting at measure 9, you're just playing the first note in each measure. They say cross over thumb. Don't really have to. You can stay there. But we need third finger on measure 12. Because I can come here. I got the whole measure to move if I need to. But I can feel this. And then here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2. And then here. Okay. Now measure 17, you just got the chords. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1. That's C natural. They don't need the natural sign. It'd be a natural anyway. But it doesn't hurt being there, so okay. And it'll be flat. 1, 2. Both notes went down. And then you don't play again until measure 23, where you're B and an A here. 1, 1, then you come up 1 key, 1 and 2. Okay? Now for the coda, you're just doing the first 3 notes in each measure. It's a broken E minor chord here. 1 and 2 and 3 and. And then the measure 27, you're just doing the first note again. And the last measure, that's an E. Yeah. So then we try to put the hands together. And now when I first put the hands together, I typically hesitate. That's fine. I just want to know how they're working together. I'm here. There's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 and. You get the idea? On measure 17 or here. 1, 2, 3. And the measure 23 is here. Yeah. And then for the coda, just even eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and. 1 and 2 and. It's just E minor chords. 1 and 2 and 3 So once we have an idea what the hands are doing, then I'll go back over it a few hundred times or whatever it takes and get rid of the hesitations. Nice and slow, but no hesitations. Once I have that, I'll think about the articulation. They don't give a lot. You get the tenuto marks at the beginning of each measure. They want you to bring those out a little bit. Well, if you do the natural accents, you're going to do that anyway. You don't even need the tenuto. But you can linger. You can hold it down, and then the moment after I play it, lift it up. So it's just a hair longer. It's not rhythmic or anything. You're just lingering on the note is all it is. That's all that's for. Measure 17, you get the slur. Well, we've been slurring all these together anyway. You see, when they don't indicate any articulation for you, it's up to you. How do you want to do it? At the beginning of this, there's nothing there except the tenutos. I could do those disconnected if I wanted to. It's interpretation. It's a little out of character for this piece, so I wouldn't do that. I'd go ahead and connect them. But in measure 13, they took the option away. Now you have to connect them. It's all together. And make sure you hold that half note down while you play that. And then you lift up. Measure 17. Try and play these as connected as you can. Connect. So forth. And the coda, I don't see any indication here for any articulation except maybe measures 27 and 28. So you experiment. What do you like? You want to connect them? You want to disconnect them? You want to connect some and not others? It's all interpretation. Because this is a rather smooth piece, I would recommend you go ahead and connect them. But in measure 27, now they're only connecting the chord. This, they're not connecting that. Well, it's again interpretation. You could connect it. I could. Or I could disconnect it. I think I'll connect it. It's just, in my opinion, this piece is really rather all connected. And when you add the pedal, it's going to cover it all up anyway. But I want to feel what's going on with the fingers and the hands. That's why I'm learning it first without pedal. I can hear it. I can hear what the fingers and all are doing. I can experiment with the articulation and the interpretation a little bit. And then when I add pedal, I may adjust things a little bit. Then the dynamics, MP at the beginning. There's no real melody here. It's just everything. It's moderately soft, mezzo piano, whatever you think that is. These on measure 11, you get the hairpin. You're going to get just a hair louder. And then measure 13, moderately loud. This note in measure 14 in the right hand, that's soft. Well, they gave you a P. They don't need the P. You should just know that's soft. It's because it's not melody. This is melody. And then you give the hairpin to get softer. But remember, you don't start getting softer until after you're in the hairpin. So I'm moderately loud. Those notes are all moderately loud. And then I get softer. There. So it's only the last two notes. Okay. Then measure 17, we're moderately loud for the melody, and that's the top voice. That's the inner voice. They call it the upper voice. Well, they say MF upper voice. You don't need that. You only need one dynamic. You need an MF, which should be in the middle of the staff, and you know to bring out the melody. So you know this, and the other is soft. And then you're going up the loud. Soft. The P is in the wrong place. This is measured 23. The P belongs to the quarter notes. The melody is loud here, actually. And these are soft. Now you can come down to moderately soft, and this is moderately soft. Here. Moderately loud, and this, you do this moderately soft anyway. Because this is the melody. You're bringing out the melody. That's what we want to hear. This other part is just keep it in the background. Now the coda is very soft and there's no melody, it's everything here, just very soft. And then at the last two measures you get the hairpin, you're going to go down to very soft here. Here. Now, don't use the soft pedal if you can help it. Try and do this with the fingers. Then the speed. Moving freely doesn't help a lot, but they give some metronome mark. Just it needs to be accurate. What can you do with these eighth notes accurately? Don't go. It's just a nice moving piece. It's sort of in moderato in the middle, but the eighth notes will want to slow it down a little bit. So it's. I think about where I've been going. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Maybe that's too fast. You want 1, 1, 2, 3. So, I don't know. It's a felt thing. How fast do you feel it should go? Now the pedal. Yes, we need pedal on this. It's for the effect. We want to mush it all together. It's a misty feeling about the whole thing. They're changing pedal. I don't know where they're changing pedal. It doesn't make sense to me. But let's see what's happening here. Technically speaking, the first two measures, it's all one chord. That's all one chord. That's why they're pedaling it all together. And the third measure, then that's a different chord. That's why they're changing the pedal. Because you change the pedal with a harmony typically. But if you don't like the sound of that, then you need to change the pedal there too. But we experiment. We see what's going on. It's going to be lag pedal or overlapping pedal. The notes go down first and then the pedal. Although when you have these eighth notes going, you got to hold that first note down long enough to catch it. Well, the tenuto helps you there because you're going to hold it down a little longer anyway. Just make sure you hold it down long enough to catch it with the pedal because you want to play the note first and then the pedal. And when you change the pedal, it's after you play the note. So make sure you're holding the first note of each measure down long enough to catch it with the pedal. Takes a little practice on that. So at the beginning here. Get the idea. Measure 13, you're not pedaling that. Lift it up right after you play that F sharp. Put it down and measure 14 right after you play that. Change it. Now, measure 16, go ahead and lift the pedal. It's a new section. See the double bars, new section. We want to hear a little silence. Go on. Overlap. Overlap. See, a measure 21, they're telling you you can that's okay, whichever. You could just lift it up after the first eighth notes. And again. And then for the coda, they're pedaling it all, the whole thing. Because this is where you're kind of misting out, okay, because you're getting softer too, okay. That's for the most part not too bad. If you don't like this at the beginning, you don't want all of that, then change the pedal at each measure. I would leave the pedal down. You want all of that together. I don't want this note by itself. No, I don't want to lose that other stuff. So I don't change the pedal there at measure 4. I just leave it down. On measures 23 and 24 here, I would like to hear the rest in the left hand. Well, if I do that, I got to do that. And I don't really need to pedal this here. So I really don't need to pedal measure 24 at all here. I could leave that up leave the pedal up on that whole measure there. It's up to you and what you like, or your teacher can help you, tell you what you like or whatever. Experiment. Now don't copy me, please. That's just one way it might go. You don't have to go at that speed. You can experiment with the dynamics a little bit and see what you think of it. The DC all coda, remember DC means go back to the beginning. In case you're looking for it, DC all coda is above measure 24. So find measure 24. The DC, go back to the beginning. All coda means go to coda. Well, the coda sign is at the bottom of the page on 148. It's above measure 16. It's the circle with the crosshairs. They have the words to coda. They don't need the words. That doesn't hurt having them there. It's just once you get to that measure and you finish that measure, you immediately jump over to measure 25 and keep going. A steady beat through the whole thing. I tend to want to slow down occasionally, put in a little retardando as part of interpreting it. There's nothing marked in the music until the very end when you slow down. But it's like on measures 23 and 24, it's here. I tend to want to slow down, and then with the DC, then I'd go back to the beginning and take off again. Well, it's interpretation. There's nothing in the book that tells you to do that. It's just, do you feel it that way or not? Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'll give us 3 counts. We're going to go really super slow. We'll do the DC all coda the whole bit. I'm not going to do the pedal because you hear the notes better without pedal, and that's all we're doing is checking notes and rhythms here. So let's try really slowly. 1 and ready and go and 1. And 2 and 3 and. 2 and 3 and. 2 and 3 and. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and. 1 and to the beginning. 2 and 3 and. 1 2 and 3 and. And 2 to the coda and. Two and 3 and off.